What's the advice that you're giving to new people getting into commercial to find success? Because the runway is longer than residential to when they'll probably get that first check.
I think the most important part to start in commercial and have success, because it does have a very high washout rate, is to be involved with a group or a team that you can get a lot of good collaboration with others that are already involved and have the experience that you might lack.
Hello, you beautiful people. It's Ryan Bogdan with Tampa Bay Unlocked, and today I have a very special guest that's going to uncover of what it means to be a real estate professional in this incredible industry. In the commercial space, I have Jon Wittner, the director of commercial. He brought commercial to KW St. Pete, and he's doing remarkable things in the area. And first, I just want to congratulate you on the closing of the factory.
Oh, thanks so much, Ryan.
Yeah.
That was a very unique transaction. Had a great team with my partner Jake Woolman and Joe Esposito on the team, and we, believe it or not, worked on that for a year and a half.
That was going to be my next question of how long were you guys working that deal?
Well, we started as leasing agents, and then shortly after we concluded that assignment, we understood that they needed a little bit of help, and so we started working on the right acquisition partner. And it just took a while, a lot of twists and turns, but we're really happy because it's a significant property and venue for St. Pete.
Yeah, for those who maybe don't know, what do we need done? Okay, yeah, no worries. That's fine. We can leave that. I like the raw thing. Yeah. So for those who don't know what the factory is, could you give a little background on that property?
Sure. The factory is in St. Pete's Warehouse Arts District, and it is a collection of 8 buildings over 6.5 acres. And the founders of the factory had a vision to create a really incredible mixed-use project with arts as the focus. And so you have many artists there. You have the fairgrounds, which has now been renamed. But that's a wonderful immersive art installation that the Dimmitt family and the Vinnick families have sponsored there. And then great tenants like the Drew Mark Gallery and other similar facilities like that. And then also a lot of artists that are earlier on in their evolution, and they can lease an expensive space and be in a collegial, collaborative environment with their other artists, and they seem to really enjoy that. And the factory is also on the Pinellas Trail, and we've had some wonderful events, concerts, whatnot there. Mm-hmm. And the new owner looks forward to continuing that trend and definitely investing and enhancing the factory.
It's definitely a significant property that adds to a lot of the culture that happens here in St. Pete because of the art scene, which I know you're heavily involved in with some other projects. Before we dive into present day, let's unpack a little bit about like commercial, right? Big difference between commercial and residential real estate, and so in 5 minutes or less, how did you discover commercial real estate?
When I was growing up, I had a very entrepreneurial uncle. His name's Ted Wittner. Some of the people around here still remember him. And he was an insurance salesman, but was just a strong salesman and businessman. And some of his friends decided he should go in with them and do a small office building. And they started doing that in the mid-'50s, and he just enjoyed it more and more until I think the most significant project he did here was the City Center project, which most people know as a Northern Trust Bank building now, which was a groundbreaking deal in the early 80s. I think it was 84. He won Developer of the Year. So that's really what drew me to real estate, watching him do some wonderful things throughout town. He also did the Wittner Center down Central Avenue at 59th and Central. Yeah, that just watching that, it seemed like that was something that I could be happy doing, and it's definitely provided me with a lot of entertainment over the last however many years.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So you had some family that were in the business that inspired you
Right.
to go into the world of commercial. So you always knew it was commercial.
Yeah, I spent a few years working at a place called Black Diamond Ranch, which is a residential community, but it was a golf nut location. You had to own property in order to be a member there, and that was the big draw. So that was a specialized thing. But outside of that, it's been 100% commercial.
Okay. So what, in your eyes, is the biggest difference between commercial and residential?
I think the personality type that might be an agent in residential is typically a little bit different than one in commercial. I think a residential agent needs to be very patient, working with families that have a lot of different dynamics, a lot of different opinions, and sometimes can be very emotional over things that maybe for others wouldn't be. So I think that needs a special type of talent. And also, you need to be an expert, just like anybody else. So I know that our residential agents have boatloads of training, and, they know all the differences that makes a home, a luxury home versus an upscale home, et cetera. In commercial, we typically have longer timelines between our transactions, and they're usually a little more risky. And a lot of it is more financial analysis based, as opposed to, okay, this is a great space for my family to live in, and this will be the perfect studio that I can finally become a painter
Just keep
that
this a
I've
little.
always dreamed of being. Usually commercial is my business has outgrown its facility, or I want another location and I heard about St. Pete, that kind of thing.
So definitely two different skill sets, because you're working with business owners versus families, and it sounds like it's a little more analytical and numbers based, black and white. Does this space work or does it not?
Yeah.
And but there's also some, from my outsider perspective, there's probably some consulting on, is this on a business perspective of, is this going to be a right location? Do you find that? Are you consulting your people that you're working with from
We do.
a business hat?
We do. They want to know what we've seen, where we've seen other similar businesses either succeed or fail in similar or possibly even the same location. So yeah, we do. We try to always advise them that, hey, if you're looking to be a one-stop shop, there's too many competitors within the radius here of this submarket. Then we have other clients that they're looking. They want to be on Restaurant Row with all the other restaurants, and then they don't have to worry about bringing people there. They just need to worry about executing and having the best product, because the people are going to find them. They're on Restaurant Row.
Location,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Going back a little bit, because I wanted to say in your background. So, family influenced the decision for commercial,
Mm-hmm.
but there's still a lot of training. But that's what we're talking about, the differences between residential and commercial. Where was your training? How did you get into it? Because now you're known around town. You if you see a commercial space, there's a good chance that your name's on it.
Mm-hmm.
So that doesn't happen overnight. So what, like, for someone listening right now, or an agent that's listening, I'm interested in commercial. How do I become the next Jon Wittner?
Well, I could tell you a lot of what not to do, but for me, my journey started off in development, and that's kind of almost like in reverse order. To me, development is a very high level of difficulty where anything and everything can and usually does go wrong on the journey. So I started off doing that with medical office buildings and basically had to wear the hat.
Here in St. Pete?
Actually, no, over in Tampa.
Okay.
And I had a firm that I joined out of college and did an internship. So I spent 4 months doing nothing, getting paid nothing, doing everything. And that was probably some of the most valuable time in my career because my bosses in trade for not paying me took me into virtually every meeting with hospital owners, high-profile doctors, contractors, attorneys, etc. And so I absorbed so much in a short period of time. And for anybody out there, if you can get in a situation where when you're starting something, you can get into a strong situation and learn a lot with people that you like, I always would recommend strongly considering that. That was what happened with me. Over 4 months, I probably got about 5 years worth of experience.
So not getting paid was worth those 4 months.
Yes, it was.
That paved the foundation to some success that you've had.
It did not feel like it at the time, but in retrospect, it was well worth it.
Yeah, I think there's a fun lesson in that to anyone listening, and I've said that, like, your first years in this business, doesn't matter what side you're in, it has to be you're working to learn, not working to earn.
Right.
And,
definitely.
And you just nailed it on the head in saying that you spent, luckily for me, I think 4 months, that's it. Like that was a short amount of time.
Well,
but,
that was just a start,
right,
but
yeah.
then I got paid this much. But we always look for people that have got that high learner motor organically in them, and luckily our team has got chock full of those. Mm-hmm. And we love it and get into all kinds of good trouble with that team. So.
Yeah. So let's keep going through the timeline there a little bit. Mm-hmm. So you're in development, which you said like everything and anything can go wrong.
Right.
There's so many moving pieces. Mm-hmm. So do you think that you learned the hardest thing first?
Yeah. Working with doctors and hospitals, trying to get them to all march along on the same song sheet with all the different agendas. I think that was a pretty tough first basic assignment. And it helps learn a lot of really valuable general problem solving. I don't know how to do it, but I know someone. So developers got to know a little bit about a lot of different things. Doesn't necessarily have to be an expert, but needs to have trusted consultants, et cetera. So that's what we would do, and what I learned was there's always a way to find the answer. If you've got a little bit of time, mm-hmm. there's going to be an answer. You're going to be able to find somebody that can at least help bring some, brain power to the situation. And, I always enjoyed that part of it is finding solutions for the unsolvable, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I like that you said that it's almost jack of all trades, master of none type of thing, right? Can you find the answer? You don't need to know everything.
The problem solving now, we tell our agents, hey, we want you to specialize and be known, and we do. So, like our team is well known for development-related brokerage and for reflection and some of those other projects. But we do love to learn, and especially when it's a community-based project that's significant, love to take it on as and see what we can do to help, whether it's something like the Floridian or, what we're doing across from the Trop, doing the leasing over there. St. Pete's a dynamic town, and it's constantly inspiring us.
Yeah, always. We're growing quickly, and you guys are helping shape that form. So through your timeline, so medical working with doctors, what was next for you in your career?
After I left medical development, I went up to Black Diamond, helped them plan out 27 holes of golf and about a third of the community, and was a leading salesperson for about 3 years there. But I always wanted to get back into more entrepreneurial, my own businesses, etc. So I started a small group that became Strategic Properties Group, and we did retail development, usually anything from 10 to 40,000 square feet projects. At the time, they were $5 to $15 million projects. So we did that for a number of years, and I decided I wanted to make some changes with regard to my partnership. And just about that same time, the economy was starting to really wiggle coming into 2007, 2008. So I attempted to get out of development and got mostly out of it, and got into brokerage. I knew some friends over at Grimaldi, a commercial over in Tampa, Frank and Carrie Grimaldi, and they took me in, and I was able to kind of launch a retail platform that they didn't have. And then I was able to build our listing portfolio, and a lot of it was over here in St. Pete. Listed property for Beth Morian, her ex-husband, Sean Manning. And that became something that I did a joint marketing agreement with Keller Williams' agent named Michael Green. And he introduced me to the franchisee at the time, Kevin, and then Kevin recruited me over a few months. And so back in 2012, we launched KW Commercial. Originally thought it was going to be destined more for our South Tampa location, but St. Pete was a draw that just couldn't be stopped. And with Jake Woolman, my partner, living here full time, we got more and more business over here, and I have a lot of family over here as well, as we mentioned. So, it was natural, and St. Pete became our headquarters.
Mm-hmm. You said St. Pete was a draw. What was going on at that time? Was it Jake being here in the family, and so it was just physical presence, or what was happening in the economic space of St. Pete?
Well, before the crash of 08, 09, St. Pete was on a meteoric rise anyway, and was just such a breath of fresh air to be over here with the friendly people, and how walkable it was, and all the water and all the parks along the water, and in critical spots here that everyone can enjoy in St. Pete. So the fact that I did have a lot of relatives, and that Jake is a really good agent and was meeting all kinds of people and setting up wonderful meetings for us. And then we started getting involved a little bit with the city and former Mayor Kreisman, and it just sort of builds. And when I took a step back and I said, well, I could either really force the issue over in Tampa, trying to grow this brokerage, not grow KW, it's pretty much grown, but this KW commercial unit, it's like I could go to Tampa, I could go to Clearwater, that's where everyone else is. And I'd rather be a little bit bigger fish in this beautiful pond here in St. Pete. And so that's what we did, and we're very happy with the results.
Yeah. And now, being from 2008 to 2024, the growth is still exponential and continuing.
Yep. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. Even with our higher interest rates and some of the other issues that we're facing that is curtailing development, we still have a lot of folks that are coming to the market fresh, unafraid. Maybe they've got more patient investment funds, and know that they want to be here long term. So a lot of good stuff going on, great new restaurants and bars opening up, new museums all the time. We just had a meeting with a gentleman who wants to open a digital NFT museum which it would be a very cutting edge thing. And
Yeah, I love that.
the arts are such a fun element, and sometimes the arts cross paths with real estate.
Real
nicely.
estate and tech with that. I have a meeting set up with someone from Tampa Bay Tech, that community.
Mhm.
And so we'll dive into deeper on that. So that's cool. An NFT museum. So you get approached and get some early eyes on some things that are coming as people are with you. So I'm sure you had to sign your fair share of NDAs of yeah.
Yes, we have signed a lot of NDAs, but that is one of the really fun parts
Mhm.
is seeing other people's dreams, whether we're representing a tenant that's trying to launch a new concept or a landlord evaluating something like that. It's just so much fun. And now with the Trop causing so much interest, justifiably so, and us having a leasing assignment right across the street, we are seeing all kinds of wonderful, innovative, and very fresh concepts. So that's a lot of fun for our team.
Yeah, what placement in terms of your advertising, having your sign right there with all that going on?
Yep, we're getting a lot of calls, a lot of hits on that, and the Moxie Hotel will likely be opening at the end of this month. So we're actually going to have some fun events after the 4th of July, showcasing the block in general, but the hotel and a little bit of our listing assignment as well.
I want to talk about some of your favorite projects and things that you had going on, especially reflections. But before that, where does your passion lie in the commercial space?
I think my passion lies in the visualization process and the Imagineering process.
Imagineering, I like that.
Right, that's a Walt Disney thing. But
Yeah.
anyway, I love to try to visualize what should happen in a space that I know is a great location, but maybe it has been having the wrong use, or maybe it's just was such a great location that what's there is just very old and needs a fresh look. So I love doing that, and this whole block that we've been talking about came because Jake and I were collaborating about, well, where can we put our clients' DATs who had been under contract on the 500 block and got out of that because they found too much asbestos in the building that we were investigating. They said, find me some parking. And we went down and we saw an existing warehouse building. It was 2 stories. That became Dr. Barbecue. We were like, okay, we could hang a cool deck off the back. We could, do this. And so the adaptive reuse is a lot of fun when it works out well. And a great exercise for your creative muscles in real estate. So we did that and ended up selling the extra parcel. But that creativity and trying to say, hey, we can solve your problem and here's how. I
want to go a little bit deeper on the Imagineering process, because I think that can be overlooked quickly, and not a lot of people probably think as commercial as having creative space. As we talked about, it's more numbers and math, right? But here's you're saying, and your specialty is being able to look at something and say, what's a better use, right? Always in our personal lives, at least for me, I'm thinking, what's the highest and best use of my time? You're looking at what's the highest and best use of this area. When you're looking at something, does it come to you immediately, or are you thinking on it later in a drive? Like, I'm always interested in that creative process for creative people. So what does your creative process look like?
I like to drive properties in the morning and in the late afternoon. And that's usually when I have my best creative juice flowing. But from a timing standpoint, it can really come at any time. Sometimes it's instantaneous. Other times it's a dream the night after or a week after. So
And is
it's
it a
just,
eureka? Is it like, oh, I got it? Like, that's it? That's what needs to happen here? Or is it, I still have to massage this out and figure it out? Or is it both?
sometimes it's a eureka, and then, but I got to make sure it works. And then trying to make sure that your idea will fit within the zoning and height parameters or what other factors that you have to deal with there. But yeah, that is probably my favorite thing is looking at something and knowing how special it can be, and then being able to share that excitement and enough of that influence to get people to take action. And reflection was one. Reflection is the furthest west condo in St. Pete right now, as far as in the downtown. And when we started it, it was really a little bit of a sales job, getting people to believe that people would want to live on Mirror Lake that far west, when I think the furthest west condo was like second or first.
Let's go deep on Reflections. Let's go, where did that, so Reflections, what is it? And let's talk about how did it start?
Yeah. Reflection is a condominium tower that our group is selling all the pre-sales, and have done a fair amount of consulting. And originally, we were the listing agents for Bridgepoint Church, which owns the church there and the parking lot that Reflection is built in. So we started there. Jake and I had been recently getting some great press because we helped sell the First United Methodist Church's parking lot. We were approached by Bridgepoint, and they had a different issue. They wanted to grow the church, and they knew that the property was really valuable. So we made a deal and gave them parking back within a building. So they really got their cake and ate it too. But what we really saw there is we sent up the drone the first day. This is even before we had the listing, and saw this beautiful view of a lake and the existing St. Pete skyline, and then Tampa Bay in the background from about 200 feet. And I said, I want to live there. And I think a lot of people would want to live there and have that very unique view, but also live on a park. And so, that eventually the developers, HB Capital, who are local guys, came to the decision that they did want to pursue a condo. And so
Whose idea was it for the condo? Yours?
it was mine originally, because I had always selfishly wanted to launch a condo presale development services style group. And so, but I also generally thought it was a great location for one, and a great alternative.
So was that one of those eureka moments? The drone went up, you're just looking around. And what was the reason for sending the drone up?
Because even if we were selling the property for a rental, the view's important.
Mm-hmm.
And we knew it was going to be a unique view, but we weren't sure exactly what the angle would look like from altitude. And so having those pictures from, say, 50, 100, 150, 200 feet is extremely valuable when you're working with developers.
Yeah. So the idea for the drone to go up, there was already the idea to put some type of high-rise building on that lot.
Right.
So where did let's go back to where did that idea come from? Was that so the lot is coming up for sale, someone approaches you, say, hey, I want to build something here, or?
Well, we felt it would be a really good building site. It is a block from the 275 on-ramp on 8th. And, 8th and MLK is one of the key interstate exits to go to the center of downtown. So we felt like, hey, this is a great site for a tower, and we just sold a tower site for a different church. So that's kind of where our heads were at, and still had a lot of developers that were looking for new sites that, out of the 12 that lost out on the First United Methodist Church. We had a lot of them that would like to see other sites. So we were thinking of that. But really, the aha moment was seeing that first drone shot from 200 feet and how well the dimension of the lake and that it was deep enough to provide a nice view and not, maybe a little short on that.
Mm-hmm.
So once we saw that, I'm like, okay, someone is going to want to do a project. I think it should be a condo. I mean, I personally would love to be able to, walk a few blocks of Central Avenue, but not be right on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing wrong with, 400 and 200. Those are great projects.
But they're in the heart. They're in the
Yeah, but beauty's in the eye of the beholder,
Yeah.
and some people would rather have a little bit more quiet where they live
and green space,
and just have a little bit of a walk.
Mm-hmm.
So we love the project. We just had a walk this morning, I think we may have our first closing here at the end of the month.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So that project, did you heavily rely on your development experience previously to be able to help get this done? Because I think you're being a little humble in how much you were involved in helping developers bring this reflection property to light.
Well, we were able to be partners with these developers who are great guys, Fred, Angelo, and Nick, and all their other partners. But they had not developed a vertical condo tower before. So it was a new business for them. I knew them well enough to know that that was not going to be a problem. They're super smart, very intelligent. We wanted to get into this business. And so we let them know we would help them in whatever way we could. And along the way, we replanned the parking lot that wasn't planned or designed correctly. We basically planned the entire fitness center and bid it out for them. Did a lot of the interior design and product development with Miss Rachel. So we learned a ton. And, we also had some other investors that we were able to help bring in to finalize the capital stack, as they say, to finance the project. So it was a lot of fun. Definitely got a few gray hairs out of it, but learned a ton and still learn every day on that project. So it's great.
And when was the eureka moment to this is what needs to happen here to now? What was the timeline on that?
We are a little over 5 years from the eureka moment to today. And again, they're telling me the first folks that are going to be the first closing are going to be late June. So, it's been a while. We had Rachel's 5th anniversary with our team.
Wow.
And I was still competing for the listing because she walked through with us when we were competing for the listing. So, and she started in March of 5 years ago. So, it's a little over 5 years. By the time we're done, we'll have a solid 6 years in it.
That's a commitment.
Yep.
And it has to be cool to now see completed building, and people are going to be starting to move in.
Yeah, I can't wait to lift a glass of wine to all the people that we've been working with for so long up on the rooftop and have a nice celebration because we got so much help with this project. I needed it. It takes a village for something like this. Yeah,
no, it's really cool, and it's a great accomplishment, and made adds to the dynamic of St. Pete. And talk about what you've done with the Art Alliance with the building.
Yeah, so we had a architect who's also one of the partners of the development group, Brian Spencer, and he is a lover of murals, as well as a lover of art. And he designed Reflection so that the focus point at the corner of 3rd and 8th was a accentuated mural corner with two very large faces that are like 40 feet wide by 60 feet tall. And so we had already been doing a lot of different things with projects that were significant arts projects, but really hadn't formalized it. And then we brought Justine onto our team, and Justine has, college education, art history, et cetera, and has a lot of passion for that. And so we had sent her around, and I asked her, hey, I've got to figure out how to select a muralist for this project. Can you help talk to the people with Shine? Our timing was perfect, and it turned out that we became the 10th year anniversary sponsor for the Shine Mural Festival, which is going to be later this year in October. And so we had a budget for public art that was a requirement to get the density that you have to go through to process through St. Pete. And it was the right amount of money, and we got some other people to join in. And so the result is they put me on the Arts Alliance. So thank you, Justine. But it's been a lot of fun. I've met some new people and learning about some new things like the NFT museum and other things that I really didn't know much about. But I've always had a passion for art, just never a lot of a collection or, no expert by any chance. But family's always supported art, especially around here. And I think there's nothing more fun than going around and seeing all the new murals. So this October we will have a very interesting muralist who we literally scoured the globe for. And I think he's going to be announced here in a couple of weeks. But we have signed a contract, and I think it's going to be a really exciting moment this year.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool because there's with over 600 murals in St. Pete, it's cool to be able to contribute to that and add such in a spot that will be seen by many because it's such a high traffic area.
Yep, that was one of the reasons why they really loved it, is how much exposure it will get in a central part in the city.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. So you have all this going on, and you're about to put the bow tie on Reflections. It's getting really close. So what's next for you?
Well, having a lot of fun building our team with Jake and Jay and Rachel, and we've got some new folks that have come in. So there's always great challenges. We're looking to continue to do our development-related business, and we're currently looking for a new project now that we're down to our last 20% of the reflection, and we'll essentially be done by the end of the year of that. So looking for a new project and talking to some folks about that. And then moving is what's coming. My family and I are moving over to St. Pete, which I've been living in North Tampa for a long time, driving a ridiculous amount of time.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, we're going to actually have one of the reflection units. And so hopefully in the next 3-4 months or so, we hope to move in.
You become a local St. Petian.
Yeah.
Isn't that what the word was, Dom? Yeah, we had someone on the show once that said that. Okay, so that's cool. So what keeps you, I want to just touch on this a little bit more because I know people are thinking like, man, I really like that hearing Jon's story. It's so cool, and I want to get into commercial. So maybe could you spend a little bit of like, if you're either starting over or what's the advice that you're giving to new people getting into commercial to find success? Because the runway is longer than residential to when they'll probably get that first check. And at the end of the day, I mean, it takes a lot of time and commitment, and people still need to pay bills. So what's your advice?
I think the most important part to start in commercial and have success, because it does have a very high washout rate, is to be involved with a group or a team that you can get a lot of good collaboration with others that are already involved and have the experience that you might lack. Um, we've seen the stats for individuals versus those people, and it's night and day how much higher the people who got onto teams, at least to start, and got the right type of mentorship for the first couple of years or so. I think that would be what I would say I think is the most important thing, is to find the right situation with people that can help you grow and that will spend the time with you to do some mentoring and collaboration. The other thing is nothing that isn't drilled into the head of real estate people all the time, but get listings. It's as simple as that.
And so, you know a lot of people. How do you stay in relationship with so many people?
Sometimes not as well as I should, but I basically try to take any opportunity that when I think of someone in a unique way because I'm driving down the road and I hear a commercial or whatever, makes me think of them, or I see something of value that comes to me and I'm able to provide it to them. I do little things like that. And then, just like everyone else, we're trying to get more and more organized with drip campaigns and things like that. I'm not a good example because I've been in real estate for so long, and my family has, that my phone rings. So I'm not a great example for what an agent should do.
Yeah, well, that comes with time in the business, right?
Yeah.
That's the byproduct of putting in the work. But
Right.
it is all the stuff that you did on the front end that now allows the phone to ring.
Yeah. And the other thing I would say, a great way to make yourself stand out in commercial is to be honest and fairly quick with your response. If you can do those two things, that will set you apart, because we all get busy, but especially it seems like in commercial, it's tough to get a hold of people. And, I think people really respond to the sincere agent whose approach is consultative as opposed to trying to tell you all the things that I've done and what I can do for you. Let's find out what you're really trying to accomplish. And it takes some time to build that confidence and rapport, because usually this is what I need to accomplish. But really, down here is what I really need to accomplish, but you're not going to get down there for a while until you can continue to build. So I always try to tell our agents, take your time, find out how you can create some value and help solve whatever the problem is.
Yeah, I've heard that if you can solve people's problems, you'll get in business.
Definitely.
Yeah, so become a problem solver. That's a good lesson. That's a really good lesson. So, I think I had another question, but look, I'm human. I forgot it for a second. I'm not going to lie. It's been really fun so far chatting with you about all of this and hearing your direction, like background and through reflections and that project, and knowing that you're looking for another one, which is crazy. So you're ready for more gray hair.
Yep. Ready for some more gray hair.
It came back to me. Since you've helped, I mean, you've done a lot of projects around the city and have shaped its growth in many different ways. Where do you see the city going 3 years from now? What's the direction? Because you have your fingers on the pulse. You have a little insider's look.
Yeah. So the worst kept secret is obviously we're going to go west with the Trop site. But in addition to that, you're going to see an awful lot of growth in the area south of downtown along the 4th Street and MLK corridors. You're seeing a lot of investment in the residential neighborhoods. I believe there's also going to be substantial additional investment on the waterfront and commercial avenues here in the next few years, based on things that are happening in our zoning department with some of the private owners. So I think, that area will be big, and Warehouse Arts District is a very unique area. And one of my favorite projects that's happening is a large park that will be underneath the interstate that will run for 4 blocks and will effectively connect the Edge District, Grand Central, Warehouse Arts District, and the Trop site. But instead of being, somewhat sketchy underneath the interstate, it'll be full of food and beverage, arts, activities, etc. So this is one of our clients, John Stadler, and his former partner, John Barquette, came up with this idea, and they've got the city to go ahead and approve the funding. So I'm looking forward, and I think it's going to be a great addition, and really bind all those 4 neighborhoods together and create like a really positive interchange there. From where it was great that you could park there, but it wasn't the safest area of town.
Right.
So
Yeah, so there's some the urban planning of what's happening for St. Pete as it's changing and expanding is really interesting to think how it's going. I mean, that the landscape of St. Pete's so special because of how much access to water that we have, and then these parks and all of that, and how walkable things are. And it sounds like they're only going to become more walkable, more connected, and like you said, go west.
Yep, go west, but it's growing in all directions. We have also seen phenomenal growth around the hospitals by Johns Hopkins, All Children's, and Bayfront, now Orlando Health. But we were working for a customer in what's called the Innovation District there, next to the hospital, from Fifth Ave South down for a bit. And because of the new Live Local Act, which Governor DeSantis enacted, which basically lets you sort of kind of cookie cutter within a mile a certain building density and height, as long as you did 40% of it as workforce housing. So we were able to quadruple the high comp in the Innovation District to $8.3 million per acre on our recent sale there, because now they can do a 20-story building on that site, where before the max they could do was about 8 stories. So some really positive things are happening with the land use and the city planning. And so, everyone likes to complain, but I think they're actually doing a fairly good job, Liz Abernathy and Corey and her group. And they have some good new zoning overlays that are assisting the growth and giving the opportunity that we need for the density to fulfill this demand.
Yeah, I mean, people keep coming.
Yeah.
More and more people keep coming. So we gotta I think about the growth of St. Pete a lot, and but there's so many things, missing pieces in my brain. So hearing you talk about density and things that the state has to approve, and even you guys have more density because you put a mural on the wall, is it's crazy. All some of the hoops you have to jump through that contribute to the growth. It's a lot of moving parts.
It is, and it's just not throwing a pro forma together and hiring a contractor.
No, definitely
it's a
not.
little bit more than that sometimes.
Yeah, there's a lot. So you wear a lot of different hats in this commercial space, more than, like you said, just running numbers. And is this business gonna succeed here? Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool. I don't know. That's really how I think I wanted to wrap it up on what you were thinking in terms of the growth. Is there anything else that we should know about you?
I'm just excited to finally become an actual resident of St. Pete.
Yeah.
So looking forward to seeing that, and looking forward to do a few more of these podcasts. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah,
And
yeah, it's been
hopefully-
awesome. It's been awesome.
Hopefully, it'll be fun for some of you out there.
Yeah, no, it's been so great, John, to tap into your consciousness here and hear what goes on in there. And now your morning drive or evening drives could be morning walks and evening walks around town
Exactly.
as you look
5
for
blocks.
yes, as you look for more space and innovate the downtown. So thank you for all you do. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being an awesome guest here on Tampa Bay Unlocked, and we're looking forward to watch what you do next.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Great.
Appreciate you guys for watching. Like, share, subscribe, comment, and wait for our next episode, which we're coming out weekly. So stay tuned. Thank you, everyone. Boom. That was good.